Everyone to the Media Mania podcast for our continued coverage of the Creed Chronicles, where we talk about each game in the Assassin's Creed game series. Tonight, we will be talking about Assassin's Creed 2, The Rise of Ezio Auditore da Firenze. And with me to my right is one of the original members of the Media Mania podcast, JD of JJ Toy Giants.
Hey, what's going on? Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, welcome back, man. Long time no see, man.
Yeah, it has been, yeah.
Yeah, this is the game we're going to be talking about tonight. One of my favorite posters in the game series.
Yeah, you would see that a lot in a lot of gaming stores when that game was out. A bunch of gaming magazines also had that same poster as well.
Yeah, I was at the midnight release for this game.
Oh, you were waiting outside to get your copy?
I was, yeah. The good old days of gaming.
Yeah. I actually just saw a short not too long ago of people waiting outside to get the very first PlayStation 2.
Oh yeah, that was a game changer for the gaming industry.
It was.
And late for this episode, not only will we be talking about Assassin's Creed 2, we will also be showing the trailer for the game when it first was announced. So here we go. We're going to watch this trailer real quick.
To the entrance. Don't let him see you. Wait for my command. display. A pity you could not let your father live to see it. As for your mother, once I've dealt with you, I promise I'll give her my full attention.
Wow, that was a lot to take in.
It was. I don't know if you ever saw the trailer for the first game, but
I did a long time ago, yeah, but I don't recall the specifics.
it was a big step up from the original game.
Yeah, they the when I was watching and I was boning up and getting some information about this game, the developers really took their time to make sure that visually that the game was better than the first, and also to improve on many facets of the gameplay.
Oh yeah, especially like the parkour aspect and just even just going back to the trailer for this one, it's almost like a movie trailer compared to the first trailer for the first game.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, obviously, for those who don't know, this particular character is different from the very first person from the first Assassin's Creed. So it actually takes place like 300 years after the first Assassin's Creed, and it's in Italy, which you mentioned his name Ezio means eagle in Italian.
Yeah, and we start out at the beginning of the game with Ezio with his having a fight with the Pazzi boy. He's the son of a Templar, and as the game progresses through the beginning, we find out that Ezio's father was a assassin, and Ezio's father and brothers were both hung for being accused of treason for which they did not commit. And Ezio donned the robes and became the new assassin in his family.
Yeah, it's with this particular time in the Renaissance era, which is where this is taking place. Ezio is basically branded a traitor and was basically an enemy of the state.
His sister Claudia, and his mother Maria, they all fled Florence, Italy, to go to his uncle Mario's in Monteregione to the Villa Auditore.
Yeah,
And
so that story alone in and of itself is very interesting.
And Ezio trained under Mario, and he eventually went out to start hunting the Templars that had to do with his father and brother's hanging. And through the game progresses, he meets other people who are allied with Templars, like Machiavelli, La Volpe, Rosa, Bartolomeo, and he learns from each of them what it is to be an assassin and how the assassins work.
Yeah, I mean, essentially the combat that you basically get to learn in this game is, it's quite fascinating in the event that the way that they had set up this particular game as far as the combat is concerned is they kind of up the ante where as you go along you'll start to learn newer weapons, from like axes to the little dagger that comes out of his wrist.
The blade, yep.
You basically, they tried to mimic as much as close as they could as a real fight would take place back then, in which then you can also, when you're fighting, you can also take the person's weapon and use it against them as well.
Yep. And you mentioned the hidden blade. If you played the first game, you'll know this. Altair's, when he had his hidden blade, you had to chop off your ring finger to show your commitment to the Brotherhood. And in Assassin's Creed 2, Ezio meets Leonardo da Vinci, and he updates the schematics for the hidden blade, where you don't have to sacrifice your finger to use the hidden blade.
Yeah, that's awesome. I personally didn't play the game myself, but I have, many friends over the years that did play it. So I used to watch kind of like their gameplay and whatnot. because that was way before like Twitch. You get to go over your friend's house if you wanted to watch the gameplay.
Oh yeah, I remember when this is going to be the next episode, but when Assassin's Creed Brotherhood came out, I didn't get it right away. I had to borrow a buddy of mine's copy to play it.
Yeah, that was another thing too. Even though they had like Blockbuster Video and all those places where you could rent it, a lot of times you wouldn't be able to get a copy of it, so you had to wait until somebody like returned it if you didn't have money to buy it yourself, or in your case, if you still didn't have money to rent it, you would let your buddy finish it and then he would give it to you so you could borrow his copy. I've done that a few
Mm-hmm.
times.
And Assassin's one of my favorite parts of the game is when it takes place in Venice, Italy, because that is like a very pretty city, and they very kept it like to that era. Like they made it look like how it was in that era, and uh, you had the boats you could row around in Venice. I forget what the boats are called there, but it was they kept it very to that time.
Yeah, it's definitely a period piece, and like I mentioned earlier, it takes place 300 years after the first Assassin's
Hmm.
Creed. Um, and we mentioned his family. Like Ezio was rich. He was pretty much like a rich guy. His family was
A
had
noble,
come from
yeah,
like
he was a
top.
noble, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then the fact that he meets people, he basically has to like gather information to kind of figure out what happened to his family and everything like that. Like why did they automatically want to kill his dad and everything?
Hmm. Because if you have the Assassin's Creed Ezio collection, a little short movie that's part of the collection. It shows his dad, Ezio's dad, Giovanni, back when he was still an assassin, when he was about Ezio's age, and how his mother knew that his father was an assassin, and she just kept it a secret for all those years.
Yeah, yeah. That was the story. The story is really great. I think that it was better than the first one, and
Hmm.
so as the times move forward, so did the way that everybody acts in the city, as far as like all of the dons and all of that, the people, the higher up, high class, and then you can see all the way down to the peasants in the street in the city when you're moving through the city through your missions.
Hmm. Yeah, like when Ezio first puts on the robes, he meets Paula. She's the leader of the courtesans in Florence, Italy, and she helps Ezio get revenge on the man that was his father's friend who had turned on him, that was a part of the Templars, and taught him how to blend in and hide in plain sight, and taught him tenets of the creed.
Yeah, that was another thing I also wanted to talk about too. That the really cool feature in this game is you can actually blend in with the crowd to kind of hide yourself from the enemy. Um,
Hmm.
so that's a cool thing to kind of like be able to shroud yourself. Another cool thing too, and I've seen the gameplay, is there are certain times in the game when you're out and about and you're going to your next mission and you get pickpocketed. So you have a choice
Hmm.
whether or not you want to follow that guy, get your money back, or go to your next mission. And that the money is crucial because now it's not just points that you're getting from it's actual money that you're getting from all of your missions to be able to buy
Hmm.
newer weapons and stuff like that.
And yeah, there's also other side missions involved in the game, like the feathers. Like one of Ezio's brothers was a very collected feathers, and after he was hung with his other brother and his father, Ezio's mother, she started collecting them, and through the whole game, you don't hear her speak the whole game until you collect all the feathers.
Yeah, the parkour is
And
pretty.
then,
It's freaking nuts too. For the
yeah,
PlayStation 2, it was freaking nuts of that parkour.
it was. And another thing you had to do, you had to collect all the codex pages to even beat the game. You had to collect, like, I thought I collected them all so many times before, and I was like, I was always missing one or two at the very end. Like, then luckily I started having a phone. I cheated. I looked them all up to see where they were to beat the game.
Well, I mean, that's not really cheating because back then, even then, they did have strategy guides so that you could be able to find certain things. So they show you the
Yeah,
maps and strategy guides, are still to this day, I think, are still being used, but they're not in paper form anymore because now you
no,
can
they're
just go on the internet and find it.
yeah. Like there's chests you can find throughout the cities. There's feathers, and there's also shops you can shop at to upgrade your gear and your outfit. You can change the colors of your capes and all that. So there's a lot for that game for that time.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of the games where you really had to put in the time. It wasn't just a quick thing. And just like any open
Yeah.
world games, like from then on, you'd have like GTA and all those open world games,
Mhm.
Spider Man, and so it it's there for a reason, meaning that they want to make sure that they keep you busy with that one game, so that even when the next iteration comes, you're still going through all the nooks and cranny of places that you forgot to make sure you complete the game 100%.
Hmm. And well, not now with all these newer games in the series like Assassin's Creed Shadows, Valhalla, Mirage, Odyssey, you had microtransactions. We had to go buy the DLCs that were part of the story, like that came out after the main game already did. I'm like, I want the whole game already. I don't have to go buy such and this DLC to know what goes next.
Yeah, DLCs have been becoming quite the nuisance for a gamer, um, and especially the biggest example that I can give is the Avengers game, and so many different DLCs and stuff that you would have to unlock via purchasing it, but with money,
Hmm.
and all these microtransactions. It's kind of like, well, you're spending more than you're doubling what you spent then for the game itself, just with
Hmm.
all the microtransaction, and then the DLCs. Also with Mortal Kombat, you don't get all the characters. You got to wait for all the DLCs or buy the definitive collection that has all of the characters in there, and you don't have to worry about buying the DLCs. But you have to wait a long time for that to happen.
Hmm. So, what would you, in your opinion, give Assassin's Creed 2 like a final grade wise between the visuals, the gameplay, the trailer, and just the game in general? What would you give the grade?
Out of 1 to 10,
Yeah.
I would give it an 8. There are some glitches that I've known out through my research where, because it is a disc game, and there are some times where you get stuck in certain places and you can't really
Mhm.
figure out where to go.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen often, but those old school like PlayStation 2 games and stuff like that, even in PlayStation 3, there are some certain glitches that will happen in certain stages, um, where you're at during the map. But all in all, it's something I would like to play myself one of these days.
Yeah.
And I would have to see if the PlayStation Store has that listed as a game that you can download. But I
Yeah.
would give it an 8, solid 8.
I would give it an 8.5 because of the graphics, the trailer. It's just they were so ahead of their time for what they were, and it built the lore for what the games would go on to be through the next couple of games.
Definitely, yeah.
Well, any closing remarks about are you looking forward to the next episode? Because the Ezio. If you don't know the Ezio collection, I implore you to go play it. If you're gonna watch this series, you need to play every game. But I recommend the Ezio collection. They were the games that I fell in love with the Assassin's Creed games.
Yeah, I would definitely like to play them. I wasn't that big of an Assassin's Creed fan back in the day, but I've seen all of the iterations that have come out through the years, and of course, all of my friends play it as well.
Yeah.
I was more of a GTA guy back then, and like most of the wrestling games. But it's something that I have thought about, trying, just starting from all the way back from the PlayStation One and the PlayStation Two era, and see, try to go back, and a lot of bit of a nostalgia there because it is part of video game history.
Yeah.
When you think PlayStation, you think Assassin's Creed
Yeah. Well,
and
I want
God
to
of
thank you.
War.
Yeah. I want to thank you, JD, for coming on this episode. I know you have a busy, you're a family man, you have kids, you have to take care of them and work. So I want to thank you for coming on this episode and because you are one of the original members of this podcast. So I just want to thank you. And if y'all haven't, go check out the Media Mania podcast merch store. Scan that QR code in the left-hand corner and get some Media Mania merch. JD has merch on that merch shop along with his own branding on there.
Yeah, I really appreciate you, having me on the podcast. It's been a while, and I can't wait to do the next one if you ever get me onto again. Looks like we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. We apologize for those who are watching live. Trying to get him back on here. Just bear with us.
Sorry, my Wi-Fi cut out for 2 seconds. I'm back.
Yeah, so I just wanted to thank everyone that was watching today. We do appreciate that. Of course, thank you very much for having me as a guest. It's been a while. And if you ever need another guest in the future, I'd love to participate.
All right. And if one more thing before we go, if y'all haven't noticed yet, if you haven't caught the last few episodes, this podcast is fueled by W Energy. So if you haven't yet, go pick you up some W Energy and use the code MMP10 at checkout to save yourself 10%.
And that does basically get you a little wired if you're looking to get focused on your gaming. That's the one to go with.
As always, I've been your host, the Media Maverick, and this has been my co-host for the episode, JD of J&J Toy Giants. And if you haven't, go check him out on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Check out his content. It's some awesome content. And if you're a gamer, he caters to a lot of gamers.
Yeah, I just went live on Twitch yesterday. Yeah, yesterday playing some Fortnite stuff.
So y'all make sure y'all go check him out wherever you can find him at. Go check him out. Make sure y'all catch the next episode of the Creed Chronicles. Good night.
See you later.